Hello, and thank you so much for dropping by this video. A very warm welcome to anyone who's new to this channel, and a warm welcome back to my subscribers. So this channel is dedicated to the work and teachings of a very, words escape me, profound person named Bruno Groening, very special, gifted, wise, loving. You can learn more about him by checking out the website. I've posted a link to it in the chat box or below this video. So this is going to be a healing report on and a spiritual healing that I experienced through using Bruno Groening's teachings. So, very simply, when I was in college, I heard about the idea of enlightenment, the idea of becoming at one with God. And it's a beautiful idea, and it really grabbed me very deeply. However, over time, I started to develop an unhealthy, I approached it in very unhealthy ways that that started to actually cause harm to me in my life. And at a certain point, I actually wanted to become a monk. Now, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with the desire to become a monk. I think it's a beautiful vocation, a monk or a nun, for the right person. It's something that you really have to have a genuine calling to, and you have to have a certain character for it, which I really didn't. I had it 50%, but not to the real extent that was needed. And my definition of a monk or nun is someone who renounces all worldly pleasures and activities and seeks meaning and happiness only through connection to God and service. So as you can see, it's quite an extreme path. And again, not a bad path, but really a path that it has to be the right fit, or otherwise it just won't work. And so starting around the age of 21 is when I really started to seriously want to become a monk. And after about 7 or 8 years of endeavoring to that, I always had the thought that I was preparing myself. I really realized that that wasn't the path for me. Maybe it was more like 9 or 10 years. Like, no, actually, I'm not really cut out for that. But by that point, it had kind of become a bit of an obsession, almost like an addiction, because I could see the negative impact it was having on me. But I was unable to fully let it go. I could let it go intellectually, but I was still trying to live like a monk. And this went on for quite some time. And when I found Bruno's teachings, which at that point, I forget, I think I was about, let's see, no, I can do the math. I was 39, and I was really able to let that go, and I made huge progress. In fact, I went and saw a movie about a nun, someone who chose to become a nun. And normally when I would see such movies, I would just have such this longing, and it would make it even stronger. And I watched that movie, and I'm like, that's not the path for me. So I made huge progress, but then after some difficult things happened in my life, then it came back even, I almost want to say even more strongly. And it really put me at war with myself, because again, the desire to be a monk is really to, not have friendships or romantic relationships, to not follow interests, passions, inspirations, unless they're directly connected to your spiritual path, and really to live a completely in essence, a completely non-materialistic life, which includes like relationships and pets and hobbies, like completely non-materialistic. So I was constantly at war with myself, constantly at war with myself. It was very difficult and um, very harmful, actually. So, it took me on this downward spiral, which I won't go into all the details here, but it took me to a very low point. And then um, one day, I was I was really considering doing it, like really considering giving away all my possessions and becoming a sadhu, which is one type of monk from the Hindu tradition where you're not formally aligned with anything, but you literally have no possessions and you just wander and you just devote yourself to prayer. So that's where it took me, but it was from um, it wasn't like my heart wanted that. It's like, well, there's nothing else for me to do. Like I just felt hopeless because of this war I was caught in between trying to live a balanced material life and trying to renounce everything. The two are contradictory. Um, and so I just sat there and I'd already given away a significant amount of my possessions. I'd given away all my books, which is a big deal. If you think about it, it is for me anyway. And I was like, okay, am I going to do this? Is there anything I want to do? And from within me came this human desire, something that I'd longed for and not fulfilled. And as soon as I got in touch with that desire, it was like a jolt of lightning and this voice of like, not quite a voice, but like, I'm not a monk. This is killing me trying to pursue this. I'm done with it. And in that moment, it was done. It's like it was gone. It reminds me of, the documentary film where, Bruno's talking to this woman and he says to her, why are you holding on to your illness? And, let me in. And this woman's like, what? And then in one moment, like Bruno bangs his hand on a table. And in that moment, she was distracted. And Bruno was able to do his magic. Well, not magic, but work, metaphorically work his magic. And the burden was gone. And that's like just how it was. It was like this whole, literally like 10-year journey that led to 1 second. And in that 1 second, it's like it was just gone. It was truly amazing. When I think about it now, it almost moves me to tears because it was quite a journey. And I have this very strong feeling that God and Bruno were guiding me along this journey. And many of the, along the twists, bends, and turns, and many of the twists, bends, and turns were very difficult and very dark. But what I can see now is that that's what was needed. I was so attached to this idea of becoming a monk and so attached that Bruno had to take me kind of on a bit of a dark journey to get me willing to let go of it. But in that 1 second, I've been trying to let go of it for like almost 20 years, but the healing happened in 1 second. And it reminds me of a beautiful quote of Bruno's, which is so important to keep in mind. And Bruno said, I will now ask you not to determine for yourself the time that a healing happens, but to endure all things that happen. When a healing happens is not up to us. It's up to God. And Bruno once said, and I'll have to paraphrase here, but he said that he was able to see the right time when a healing would be best for someone's spiritual development. Like God could have lifted this burden a long time ago, as I'm sure could have Bruno. Um, but Bruno said that he never does it the way he wants it. He does it the way it's given to him to do, meaning he just follows orders. So I'm not a monk. And since that day, I've really committed to one of my deep passions, which is dancing. I already teach dance, but I've committed even more, and I'm working on a performance piece. I've really committed to another one of my passions, which is poetry. And it's still a journey. It's a journey of like grounding myself in this earthly life. But there's been a huge progress. This happened in November of 2021. And I felt to wait a couple months to share the healing, to really let it settle. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining in. No matter what the burden is, no matter what the imbalance is, because in the end, all problems stem from an imbalance. Too much evil, not enough God. It all, find out for yourself, but according to the teachings of Bruno Groening, it all stems from this negative energy. And so in essence, it's all a kind of imbalance. And we as human beings can fixate on the particular imbalance. But someone like, because from a human point of view, different imbalances or different illnesses or burdens require a different solution. And, from a spiritual point of view, it's always going to be the power of God. And there's sometimes some things to be learned along the way. I certainly had many lessons to learn before I was willing to release this one. And it's so tricky because I thought I was willing to release it, but I wasn't really. I wasn't really until that moment. And then I was willing enough, and our dear friend swooped in and took it away. Hi, Livia. Thanks for saying hello. So, whatever the challenge is, there's an infinite power called God, or who I call God. You can call it whatever you like. And there are fierce spiritual helpers such as Jesus Christ, such as Bruno Groening, who are truly able to extend a helping hand and help in situations where things seem hopeless or where human aid falls short. Thanks for saying hi, Livia. A warm welcome to the channel. And I wish everyone a beautiful, beautiful day. Take care.